posting of colors.
Detail. And put. Forward. Huh. Forward. Huh. Pose, colors. Present. Huh.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward. Huh. Out. Hey. Forward. Huh.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Bow your head, please. Almighty God, help our military in harm's way. Lead our VA personnel helping our disabled vets and PTSD patients. Dear Lord, be with those POW and MIA men and women and families back home, as well as their families. And God bless America. Lead our president and leaders in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. We'll have a moment of silence. You may be seated. And today we're going to have the report of the casualties that are still remaining. World War II report.
72,660.
Korean War report.
7,612.
Vietnam War report.
1,587.
Cold War report.
Cold War 126.
Afghanistan, and other conflicts report.
5.
The table before you is a place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact that members of our profession of arms are missing from our midst. They are commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers. They are unable to be with us this evening, so we remember them. This table, set for one, is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. Remember. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms. Remember. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of our comrades in arms who keep the faith awaiting their return. Remember. The red ribbon tied so prominently on the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn upon the lapel and breasts of thousands who bear witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting of our missing. Remember. A candle is lit, symbolizing the upward reach of their unconquerable spirit. Remember. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate. Remember. There is salt upon the bread plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight. Remember. The chair is empty. They are not here. Remember. Remember, all of you who served with them and called them comrades, who depended upon their might and aid and relied upon them. For surely they have not forsaken you. Remember. Remember, until the day they come home. Remember.
What is courage? What is honor? Are these words or just ideals long forgotten? What is beauty? What is glory? Are they just written down in some old story? When we hear words like freedom, do we know what it really means? Or do we take it all for granted, living like kings and queens? We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with life of ease, blessed to gather freely, blessed to have a voice, blessed that some are brave or fought, so we could have a choice. So we are blessed. Oh, we are blessed. Is faith a notion, or fear of hell? Or have we lost our faith in faith itself? Is it our rock, or is it madness? Or do we cling to it like rain in times of sadness? Is it easy to remember or easy to forget the duty of our country and the simple gifts we get? We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, so we could have a choice. We are blessed. Oh, we are blessed.
Our keynote speaker tonight is Mayor George McGill. His professional biography and career achievements read more like a preface to a very large novel rather than his complete life's work. Mayor was elected to office in August of 2018. Prior to that, he was Arkansas State Representative from District 78. He earned his BS degree and MBA from the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. And last but not least, he's an Army veteran.
This is a celebration for me. So I just relax and we'll reflect on these guys because they drank beer and they had fun and they enjoyed life just like we do. Just like we do. Certainly it's a solemn occasion, but let's remember who they really were. They were part of my baseball team. Second baseman. The other guy played first. And we enjoyed life as teenagers. Got in trouble, did boy stuff. And went on to the military. And we're excited about that. Excited to serve the country. We all were. And some didn't want to serve in a Vietnam War. But my buddies loved our country. We realized that we couldn't do the things we do anywhere else in the world other than America, and we loved Fort Smith, Arkansas. Marvin went away first, and then Danny Ray, and I went away to college. They went away to the Army. And we corresponded back and forth and told me about the new world that they were seeing. And every now and then they would tell me the rest of the story. And I still miss them. They were full of life, full of joy and excitement. Never had a harsh word about our nation. Certainly we were all confused about why were we there. We were just kids. You know, why would we go? We were just kids. And like I said, I went away to the University of Arkansas, but they were kids. And we never questioned our nation when it came to serve. And they were delighted to serve. They loved that uniform. They after basic training, they let you come home. They came home and they wore that uniform, and we had fun teasing them. So you need to take it off once in a while. But they were so proud of it, proud of that uniform, because we were poor guys. And we had a brand new Army uniform. Very proud of it. Marvin and Danny didn't come back home. They didn't come back. They weren't POWs or MIAs, as we're talking about tonight, but they didn't come back home. They didn't come back home alive. They didn't come back home the way I knew them. My running buddy, that second baseman, who was really good. If he'd have stayed and continued to play. I think he could have played Major League Baseball. He was just that good. He didn't come back home. Danny Ray the same way, didn't come back home, Richard. Didn't come back. And by the time I finished college and headed off, finished my training, I was trained in field artillery, trained as a fire direction officer, and had my orders to go to Vietnam, was waiting, had announced to my family and friends that I'm going, gotta go. Some said, I wouldn't go. I'd go to Canada. I wouldn't fight in that war. I wouldn't do it. I believed in my country. My great-great-grandfather fought in the Civil War, so he was a soldier. We believed in soldiers. I had a brother, Donald W. McGill, was a captain in the U.S. Air Force, and he manned a missile base up on the North Korean border during that crisis up there. And I always tell people, if the North Koreans would have started something when he was up there, they wouldn't be exist. He manned a missile base up there, and I don't know why they trusted him with the trigger. About 20 powerful missiles, but thank goodness he didn't start a war, and thank goodness they didn't start one with him. But he served. I wanted to be like my brother, Don, who retired from the Air Force. He came back home and did well, but Marvin and Danny Ray didn't come back. When I got my orders, I announced to my wife and my friends, guys, I'm going to Vietnam. Everybody in my officer's class was going to Vietnam. And about 2 days before we would ship out, Richard, the base commander called a formation and said, there's been a change in military strategy. Stand by. And we were confused for about a week. We didn't know what was going on. They finally announced there's been a change in military strategy, and we would not go. So I didn't have to go. I can't forget the guys who did go, and they didn't come back. And I think of them, we have our class reunions, and the first thing we started talking about, we had a baseball team that was really, really good. And the first thing they would always talk about, how good Marvin could turn a double play, how good Danny Ray could play his position. Where are the people tonight? Where are the citizens in this city, in this region? Where are they tonight? When we celebrate the men and women who have given their lives on the front line. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about on the front line. And gave their lives to this nation, that we might be free tonight to take a minute to pause and say thank you to these men. Where are the children that we can share this with and let them know it costs to be free? Freedom is not free. And Danny Ray and Marvin paid the price. And the men and women that we call POWs and MIAs, they paid the price. They didn't come back. I know one POW came back. He came home, but it was never the same. Never the same. And he never talked about what he suffered as a POW. Never talked about it. We would prod him and try to encourage him to tell us, but he never told us what he experienced as a POW. He would always tell us, he said, you know, you think you want to know, but I will not share something that will create memories that will haunt you the rest of your life. I'm not going to tell you that. And he never shared with us what it was like to be a POW. POWs and MIAs are many times only reflected in a number, and they just gave some numbers. But there are people from all walks of life, like Danny Ray and Martin, all religions, all ages. And the most analyzed war veterans were those that fought in that war era of Vietnam with me. We can make assumptions about POWs and MIAs were representative of the whole. They were representatives of all of us. They came from every cross section. And the average age of those guys was the same age as Marvin and Danny Ray, about 19 years old. 19 years old. Most of them still living at home, 19 years old. They represented less than 1% of their generations, and 2/3 were volunteers. Danny Ray and Marvin were volunteers, and 1/3 were drafted. I was drafted. I was in that number. And the data shows that over 1,500 that missing POW'd in the Vietnam War. 15 of those was from our great state of Arkansas. A lot of talk these days. We hear about 1%ers, meaning millionaires and billionaires. The true 1%ers, the 1% of the population we call veterans. They're the true 1%ers. And the 1%ers are 1% of the population we call veterans. And for over 240 years, veterans have defended this nation as imperfect as it is. Like Danny Ray and Mark. They said, I'll go. They said, I'll go. And today we're honoring that 1% of the 1% that as of today have not returned. Where are the people tonight? Front row, this should be full.
Yep.
We should, the municipal auditorium should be full of men and women and children celebrating those who made this sacrifice.
Amen.
Where are they? And what are we going to do about it? Do we have a passion for the work that we do? Richard, do we have a passion enough for the work that we do that we're willing to go out and be loud about what we should be doing when it comes to at least taking a moment to thank these men and women who made this sacrifice? Let's be bold about it. We're bold about everything else. Mention our favorite president, we get loud and bold. Mention our favorite football team, I almost said Arkansas Razorbacks. Right. We get loud and bold. Mention the Dallas Cowboys and we jump out of our seats. But we mention those who made the ultimate sacrifice. When we were in the service, we swore to support and defend America with a blank check, which included paying with our lives, if necessary. We hoped at least we would be buried at home, so our families would know where they would at least know where we are in the cemetery. POWs and MIAs gave more than that. Their families know not where they are. We hope and pray that every day more will return home to to their proper resting place. And you just read some numbers where we found a few. And Marvin could hit too. Marvin could hit a baseball. He could hit a baseball. Had a set of bow legs and he could run. He could run. No matter how hard we have it, the lingering trails we have, the lingering trials we have faced, and the disappointment that we have experienced, POWs and MIAs would trade places with us in a minute. We should strive every day to live in a positive, constructive way, if for no one else, but for them. They didn't pick and choose who they went to fight for. They went to fight for America. They went to fight for everyone in America. They didn't say, I'm going to fight for mama or daddy, or I'm going to fight for the guy that plays third on my team. I was the third baseman. He said, my middle name is Billy, and they all called me Billy back then. He said, I'm not going to fight, I'm going for everyone in America. And we should live out our days to reflect the sacrifice that they made. When they lined up, when we lined up in our platoons and in our squadrons, the commander didn't look around to see what color we were, what church we went to. He lined up troops that were willing to serve. We've got to get that understanding as a nation and as a people. We must. We must. Because when it's time, they're simply going to sort us by our bravery and our willingness to serve. I'm going to take my seat. I promised Richard I wouldn't take long. He gave me, I don't know if you know it or not, but he gave me an hour and a half. And I looked at him like, come on, Richard, you got to be kidding. He said, George, I really am. Let me close by saying, America today is struggling. And we all know that. We've had an incident around here that caused us all to cringe. On the other hand, veterans stand shoulder to shoulder in a common purpose every day. Veterans and civilians alike today should again feel the call to honor our POWs and our MIAs. And let us all seek to rekindle the spirit of the country that they fought for and would be proud to return to. If they could, they'd feel good about coming home. If they could, they'd embrace us as they came through the airport and had the signs and the banners out. They're not coming home. They're not coming home. And the least we can do is take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to them. Thank you to their families, their wives and moms and dads who bid them farewell and said, go serve well. I promise you, a mother and a father and a wife didn't tell them, stay at home. They said, go serve well, and we'll see you again. They didn't come home. I believe in circling our own wagon. Richard, let's circle this wagon and make sure when we celebrate this day again, that we have hundreds of people that understand why they're free. The freedom was bought and purchased by the men and women that we call POWs and MIAs. Thank you all for giving me the chance to come and be with you. We'll pray for all of those we know that may have lost someone in one of the conflicts. And then there's so many more that came home physically, but mentally struggle daily with the impacts of war. I know them. Some of my friends that did come back. I know them, but they don't recognize me. In nursing homes, veterans facilities. The person I knew didn't come back home. Didn't come back home. Again, this is a celebration of their lives, celebration of their love for our country. And we applaud them. And we pray that their families be confident. And if it's God's will, more of them return. Thank you very much.
Lack of the crowd, it's on me.
No, it's not. I will let you take that.
Will you all rise for our closing prayer?
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we humbly bow before you today. Thank you for all that have served. But we thank you most of all for the POWs and the MIAs that did not return. All of those KIAs that did return, Lord, I ask you to be with their families. Lead us and guide us and direct our paths as we step out and do what you call us to do. And that includes pledging allegiance to our flag and walking proudly. We ask all this in Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Remain standing for the declaring of the colors.
Detail, and hoop! Forward, hoop! Forward, hoop! Raise his hand. Hoop! Hey! Hoop! Retreat. Out. Hey! Forward. Hoop!
Be seated for one more moment. Pastor Chris, could you come forward, please? Pastor Chris at Calvary Frontlines Church. We want to thank you for providing this facility to us. We normally have an outdoor event, but wouldn't have been too good tonight. So thank you very much for that. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Okay. And he's also back. We got some cookies and refreshments back there. Hang around, talk as long as you want to. Thank you.
Don't touch the brownie that has the speckles on it, that's specifically for Richard.
There's been a video of